we'd like to set up a web page in order to view this data from the students table. Now, you may not have taken a website development course, but we can begin with some very simple things. A typical HTML page would begin with a doc type HTML, and then it has these things called tags or elements. From the HTML tag to the /HTML tag, that is the full HTML page. Within that is head to /head, that's the head element. Within that is the title to /title, and if we're not in the head, we're in the body to /body. In particular, I want to look at lines 7 and 12 where we have table to /table. We're going to create that little table that we saw there. I'm putting a border equals 1 just to indicate that I want a border. Now each table row will have a TR that will go to /TR. And inside of each table row, we'll have table data, TD to /TD. And those are cells in effect. Those are the boxes that we have. So I'm just showing this as an example. Data 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. I've got data in there. And I could also have a heading. So I have two columns, heading 1 and heading 2. Headings are also in table rows, but they have TH for table heading as opposed to TD for table data. So this is what that sample would look like if I was writing an HTML page. But I'm not writing an HTML page. I'm going to write a PHP page. We have to talk about where that's going to be. Inside the Linux server, there's a directory called home. Underneath that is where your username is and where your home directory is. Beneath the home directory is a public_HTML folder. That's where all your web pages go. But in this class, we're going to have a folder called 160 that's going to contain all the pages related to 160. Some of you may also be in the 170 class, in which case you'll be putting stuff elsewhere. But in addition to the public_HTML folder, we're going to create a folder called connect, and that's going to give us the connection back to the MySQL server. So that connection is going to take place in a file called connect.php, whereas the listing of all the student names is going to be in a folder called students.php. To get from students to that connect, you see we have to go up one folder, up another folder, and then down a folder into connect. Up a folder in Linux is .. So we'll have two .. then we'll go into the connect folder where, don't get confused, we have a connect.php page. So that little string there, .. connect.php, is going to be very important to us. We'll see that once we have our little student page, much like we began with earlier. But PHP has a beginning that begins with a $!PHP, and it ends with a $! symbol. Anything in there is not plain HTML code. It's actually going to be PHP code, a whole separate language. Now, I've got comments here just so I can separate the main line from the other functions I might use in here. Remember, we've got .. connect/connect.php. What's going to be in there? Let's take a look. After we first include that in the main line of the students page, we're going to include that line so that incorporates that whole file in there. Now let's take a look at what that file is. It's got a PHP code itself, and it's got a function called connect. Now that function returns a $con. All variables in PHP begin with a $. So I'm just returning a variable called con. And all I actually need in there is $con equals MySQLi _ connect, and in parentheses there's four things that I need. The computer name, which is going to be localhost, that's the CIS machine that we're using right now. Test G happens to be my username in this example. Now my password would not obviously be secret password, but I would have a password there, and then the database name is going to be the same as my username only because of simplicity purposes, not because it has to be that way. So that's what that's going to look like. I've got a couple other things I want to put: ini_set display errors to 1 and error reporting all. Now these things I'm going to put, but I wouldn't put them in my production. I only put them in development stages. Those are things that are going to help us with errors, but we wouldn't necessarily want to keep them once we've gone into production. Now back on this here, my next line is $con equals connect. So I included that file and then I called that function. And then I'm going to view students, sending that connection to this function called view students, which currently doesn't exist. So we're going to have to create that. All functions begin with the name, like view students, and have parentheses, and any variable in between, like $con, will be sent. And we have open and close curly braces. Now inside of that, I have an SQL statement. Select fname, hometown, major from students. Okay. And the first thing I'm going to do is create another object called the statement that's equal to $con minus greater than prepare parentheses $SQL. So it's going to prepare that SQL statement through that connection, and then it executes it, and then it stores that result. So statement minus greater than store should be an underscore result there, and then it binds the result. So I've got fname, hometown, and major in the order fname, hometown, major. Notice these here all have dollar signs in front of them. $fname, $hometown, $major, because all PHP variables must begin with a $. So we bind the result to that. Now I've got my table that I showed earlier, border equals 1, but you notice these are in echo statements because I can't just write table border equals 1. That would be in HTML, but I'm in PHP where I have to surround that into an echo statement. And I have a while loop, while statement minus greater than fetch. So while I'm fetching each row from the statement object, that's going to be each row right here within the list here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that td fname /td, td hometown /td, td the $major /td /tr. That is the row, just like we saw earlier, but using the data in between it. However, I'm going to add that other line here, trth, so I can say first name, hometown, and major. Notice these are written in English, so home and town can be separated. $hometown is a variable name. You can't separate that. So the difference between TD and TH is simply that table headers only appears once in a table. Table data is going to appear multiple times, and the table header usually has something like boldface on it. So it looks a little bit nicer. First name, hometown, and major.